So hi Andrew, we're here on the Qu-bit booth and you've got 4 new modules to show us at NAMM.
Sure do. Got 4 really exciting designs this year. We have a physical modeling voice, a circuit bent digital audio buffer, a spectral reverb, and a ratcheting envelope generator. So let's dive right in with the data bender here. This is the circuit bent digital audio buffer that I was telling you about. Basically what it does is it takes all the ways in which audio equipment can break or fail, and it puts them in your rack under voltage control so that you can use it in a musical context. So the first parameter here, the bend control, is sort of like a skipping CD or a scratched record. It's going to warp your playhead essentially and enable all sorts of different types of transformations of the sound. So as I hit it, you're going to hear the playhead sort of disjointedly move through the buffer. And then the knob directly beneath it is going to set the amount of chaos or intensity of that, if you will. It's true stereo, so each channel is going to sound independent of the other one. It's going to be completely unique processing on each side of it. Next to break, we have bend, which is sort of like an old tape machine. You're going to be able to affect the playback direction, so you can go forwards, backwards, but you can also do various speed pitch adjustments up or down. So if I just turn it on here, right away you'll notice you're going to hear a little bit of reverse happening in the audio. And as you increase it, when you start moving your pitch around, doing some more wild things with it. And then the third control over here, corrupt, basically is going to do bad things to your audio. It's going to format it into the wrong data type. It's going to buffer underrun. It's going to, do downsampling, bit crushing, all the things that you would normally hate on a PC, but are actually really cool if they can be harnessed in a musical context. So I'll give you a taste of that. So it's sort of an unpredictable control, but you can really find a lot of sweet spots on it. And what's really cool is all 3 of these things interacting with each other. You get these really unique sonic canvases, if you will. The overall buffer can go up to 5 minutes of stereo audio. So really long time for recording and sampling and doing all this mincing and mangling stuff. It's 14 HP wide. It's going to be available in May, and it's going to retail for $349. So next, let's go over the Aurora. So the Aurora is a spectral reverb. What's really cool about it is not only is it a really lush sounding reverb, but it has a phase vocoder audio engine, which allows you to do all these really unique spectral transformations of your incoming signal. So we'll bring the mix up right here. You'll hear that algorithm that I was talking about, that really lush reverb. Now right at the top we have the warp knob, and what that's going to do is basically just do these background pitch shifting on your audio. And that's using the phase vocoder. Beneath that we have blur, which is going to smear the transients and spectral content of the signal. So far left is going to lock all of your transients, and then just do these really unique smearing of all the rhythmic parts of the signal. What's really cool about the Aurora is you can actually lock the signal on the time or the frequency domain just by hitting these buttons or with a gate input. So if I just hit that, it's going to keep resynthesizing the current timbre. And you can keep processing it in addition to that and moving all the parameters around. And then, of course, the frequency domain. So you're still going to have your transients happening, but it's going to sort of lock your spectral content, trying to mimic the overall texture of it. Along the right-hand side, you have classic reverb time. At its maximum setting, it goes all the way to infinite feedback, so it'll just keep on going forever, even without an input at that point. Reflection. What's cool about this is it's a low-pass filter, but it's a FFT low-pass filter. So it's using the bins, the spectral bins, to do its filtering. So it's kind of a unique take on the way to do that. And then beneath that we have atmosphere, which is the reflection time of your reverb. And that's the Aurora. It's going to be available in April. It is 12 HP wide. It's going to retail for $299. On the far left, we have the Surface, which is our multi-timbral physical modeling voice. You've actually been hearing it this whole time. I'll bring down the mix on the other. So what's really cool is it's got a lot of different models. You're not stuck with one particular physical modeling algorithm to listen to. It spans quite a wide range of percussion-based sounds. So right now, let's start plucked string. You're going to get guitars, basses, things like that. The next model is the mallet section. So you'll be able to get marimbas and vibes and anything you'd hit with a mallet, essentially, in your typical orchestra section. Beyond that, we come to the kick or tom, where you'll get a lot of tuned drum sounds, but you don't have any noise on them, so it's a lot better for toms and kicks, like I said. And at the far right, you'll have the snare section, where you can do a lot of tuned, noisy sounds with a really strong transient. Up to 8 voices of polyphony can be active at a time. You just set that with the voices here. And they can come from any of the models. So you're not restricted to 8 voices of any one model. You can mix and match. So if you listen, we'll bring up decay a little bit. Sounds like we have quite a few different modules operating right now, but it's really just the surface. And that's what's really cool about this polyphony feature is you get all these voices active at a time, all coming from different models, but it's still just a single voice, only one module. Each model has its own specific parameter controls, which affect the sound, and those come with the tone and strike knobs. Strike is going to be more transient oriented, so it's going to affect the beginning of your note. You'll hear it pretty strong here on the snare. So you get that click at the beginning. Or the mallet's going to be the type of mallet you're using, whether it's rubber, plastic, etc. That's the surface. It's 10 HP wide, nice and slim. It's going to be available in March, so it'll be the first one out this year, and it's going to retail for $299. And then last, we have the Cascade. So this is our ratcheting envelope generator. What's really cool about it is it's inspired by a burst generator, where you can trigger a module and get a burst of gates, but it adds the CV modulation aspect to it, so you can trigger and get a stream of envelopes all from a single trigger signal. So let me just, right now we have the Nanoran white noise output coming into the mixology, and the Cascade's operating as a typical AD envelope. We're triggering it from the bloom. I'll slow it down a little bit here. So we have typical envelope parameters like attack and decay. 2 outputs, so you have a level control for each output, which goes from 0 to 10 volts. And then you have the unique ratcheting behavior I was talking about. And that comes with the repeats knob here. So as I increase this, you'll hear we're getting 2 envelopes to every single clock in. Then we'll get 3. And then if you bring this down a little bit, you can go beyond that. And you can see you start to get these really unique rhythmic behavior, all from a single trigger input. And you're not stuck with just AD. You can do ADSR, ASR, and a mode we're calling the Bouncy-Ball Mode, which lets you do the classic Bouncy-Ball patch, which mimics gravity, where it'll speed up and then slow down. You can cycle, so you don't need a trigger input. It'll run on its own. And what's really cool about it is you can actually freeze the output right where it's at. So really handy for performance gestures to just be able to lock the envelope wherever it is and kind of just pause everything, take a breath, and then keep it running. And of course the curve knob, you can go from exponential to logarithmic, and you can get some just unique shapes as well. So some stepped shapes and some other just unique wavetables that we came up with. It's 10 HP wide. It's going to be out in June, and it's going to retail for $199.
Andrew, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Cheers.